west of the Black Land of Mordor. No, wait, that is Mount Doom. This place, not quite that magical, but Tolkien's terminology could be applied to Mount Panorama, as certainly it will be the doom of many. Now, it won't be some ring that has the driver saying, "My precious." No, it'll be the fast repair, because attrition, like in most Middle-earth adventures, will be a major plot line. It takes about 3 minutes for the SRFs to get around this place, and if you only watch 90 seconds of the GSRC video lap guide, well, switching from Tolkien to Dickens, this place might be a tale of two cities. The best of times being the long straightaways separated into 3 parts by 2 90-degree left-handers. The worst of times, going up and down the mountain on an asphalt ribbon narrowly lined by concrete. Call me Ismail, because for me, these 4 miles, these 23 turns, is my white whale. And if Melville was a sim racer, he would have written a masterpiece about this place. And if they turned that novel into a movie, the trailer might have looked something like this. Roll the lap guide.
Alright, we're in the GSRC SRF, so let's do a lap around Bathurst. Hell Corner is incredibly important to your lap times, but a good exit isn't just about being fast by yourself. It's also about dealing with the incredible draft these cars put out. Slipstream battles are going to be a reality all race long. Jumping ahead, since it takes a while to get up the mountain straight, we brake for Griffin's Bend. This turn is pretty swift in the Spec Racer, and because the car doesn't have a whole lot of grunt, you want to get back on the power as soon as you possibly can. You're already getting a taste of how steep the grades are up and down the mountain just on the run up to the cutting. Now, in a faster car, the curved braking into here can be scary, but it's comparatively tame in this machine. Much like the corner before though, it's all about setting yourself up to get back on the gas as quickly as you can. This is another long, flat-out stretch, so up into Quarry and through all the following turns, it's mostly about minimizing your steering input and getting your shift points right. Reed Park is where it finally stops being such a steep climb, and that will blend into Frog Hollow. Another left-hander takes us to Sulman Park, where you want to hold as far right as you can because McPhillamy Park is easily the trickiest to nail. Turning in too early or too late can quickly end your day either way. Now we're going to ease onto the brakes over the crest of Skyline. Balancing the car through the S's will be a scary feat every lap, and then you've got to brake hard for the dipper. An important thing to remember in this car is to never fully lift while the car gets loaded into these corners, because the lift throttle oversteer will make it almost impossible to save. Try to hug the car to the right, but be aware that the car won't want to stop very quickly into Forest Elbow. Plus, the SRF likes to understeer, which means there's a danger of hitting the wall on the exit as you try to find speed onto the Conrod Straight. This is another section we'll want to skip and jump up to the chase. The kinked entry is easily flat out, but spotting your brake marker and being accurate will make or break your lap. Don't be surprised to see a few drivers come in too hard and clatter over the grass. Now, if you haven't managed to make the pass, Murray's Corner offers a last-ditch opportunity to get an overtake done. But watch out for the tall inside curve, because it'll make the car bounce around like a pogo stick and ruin the whole lap. From there, you'll want to just mash the power down on your way to the line, and hopefully you've now finished a lap around Bathurst.
Hello everyone, welcome back from the lap guide. We're currently watching qualifying underway here at the Mount Panorama circuit for the Weekend Warrior series. I'm Samuel Roman. You just heard Bill Zahn a moment ago. You're about to hear Bill again, because Bill, we're about to take a look down our championship standings, and I know you've been keeping a close eye on these guys.
Well, hopefully you can hear me. You never quite know how things are going to happen here. Let's start by talking about David Gasper's The Ghost. He has 2 wins. Grease Lightning, Demetrius Houladoulis, leads all drivers with 3. But GSRC always brings drop races into the mix mid-season, and when we do that, we find that Jerry McAreevy, coming off a win last time in the unbroadcasted event of Pocono, actually sits in second. Now, Daniel Sadro, best result this season has been 5th. He's done that 3 times. And then there are 2 drivers tied for 5th. Usually, that's all GSRC really says about 2 drivers tied for the bottom spot on the overlay. But this time, we're going to drill down a bit. One of those drivers is series organizer Steve Ray, so it's always a good policy to never skip over the series organizers. The second name is, fanfare please, Errol Num. The Roland Estonian was late to the dinner party, missing the first 4 races. But because this series offers 4 drop races, missing soup, salad, and a couple appetizers doesn't mean that Nama's gonna starve. If he stays here all the way through the main course to dessert, he's got a good chance that he'll get to go home with the prettiest girl at the party, that being the winged statuette that sits atop the Weekend Warrior trophy. Sam?
Currently, qualifying is underway for those drivers here at the Mount Panorama circuit. On provisional pole right now is the 67 machine of Cherry McAreevy. Let's give you a better idea of what these guys are racing for. Super, you just mentioned the trophy, but how they race for it. With a look at our series details, obviously you can see they're racing the Spec Racer Ford around here for the 6th season of this Weekend Warrior series. This is round 8 of 12. You saw in our graphics we accounted for 3 drop weeks. By the end of the season we'll be accounting for 4 drop weeks, so your best 8 results count. Pretty much following the schedule and the point system of the official iRacing series, but it's not the official iRacing series, it's a league. Where things differ from the official Spec Racing Ford iRacing series is the setups. Yes, it's still an open setup, but a limited amount of fuel, 30% fuel. That's about 30 minutes of racing. I anticipate an even tighter pit window than usual here at Bathurst, considering the length of the track and the amount that you're on the throttle for. It's just a 40-minute race. They will have to make a stop. There is no incident cap, although granted you do not want to get on an incident around here because of how close the walls are and how high the speeds are, especially once they reach the top of a hill and go back down it. If you do get involved in an incident though, you can get back in the race with one fast repair, but you're going to want to make sure you keep your car in drivable condition, because unfortunately here, Bill, if you get involved in the crash at this part of the circuit where we're seeing the cars make our way through in qualifying right now, it's a long way back to the pits, and chances are your car's not going to be pointing in a straight line.
Yes, they give you those fast repairs, but if you have to take it, your race is probably over. Unless you can time your crash right around the pit window. We'll have one stop. On the pole, it's McAreevy. He has been hot of late as we ride on board, looking off the back of Jason Perry. Perry's sitting second in the standings on the grid right now.
And right behind him, provisionally lined up in 3rd place, Bill, you mentioned him just a moment ago, Eero Nom. He's only been in 3 races so far this season, including last week's race at the Pocono Road Course that wasn't broadcast here on the GSRC, but nonetheless they ran it. And Eero Nom got another 2nd place finish in his 3 races this season. You mentioned him being up there in the points. He has finished no worse than 2nd. 1 victory, 2 twos. Hopefully that doesn't mean he's on par for 3 3rd place finishes.
Yep, we're going to see him showing up on the charts very soon if he keeps showing up, because all 4 drop races will be taken into account, and that's going to put him on a level playing field with the rest of the drivers. One driver that is suspicious by his absence is Grease Lightning, Demetrius Houdoulis. Not here. He's been missing a lot lately, probably on vacation for the summertime. If you're here in the U.S., if you live in New Mexico or Idaho in the summertime, you might want to take a vacation to Greece. Maybe, for all we know, Demetrius maybe going to New Mexico right now for a vacation. We'll have to check in on that.
Oh, yeah. The people over in Europe, they tend to get more generous vacations than we do over here in the US, Bill. Looking forward to when we do create that autonomous technology. You know, those Terminator robots and all that. If they're friendly, maybe they could give us more vacation time over here in America.
I have one in my home, but I keep it on a 6-foot extension cord, so if it starts to make a move on me, it can't go very far.
No, I don't know why they never thought about that.
That's the trick. I'll tell you, he's making a move right now. This is Steven Elson. Boy, he is sitting in 2nd position. We're looking at Andres Bertoni right now, looking to put in a hot lap.
Well, he's ran a 2:36.2 so far, which has him in 8th place on the grid. just comes across the line right here. And either that doesn't look like that lap counted, Bill.
I don't know. Sitting in 8th. You know, I mentioned in the, I'm not sure if you heard me or not, I mentioned it takes about 3 minutes to get around here. I exaggerate a little bit. Lap time's about 2:33 for the pole sitter. Our slowest driver, 2:40.
And this is a timed race, so you can do the math here. Well, I can do math. I'm not sure you can say the same there, Bill. But 2 minutes 30 means you do 10 minutes and 4 laps. So that means we're looking at about a 15 or a 16 lap race here today. So if you want to split this race halfway for your fuel strategy, lap 7 or 8 would be what you're looking at there. Come in and get it topped off. Obviously, it takes so long to change tyres here. That's not really a consideration as we watch Cold Mike at Love come across the line and get started on a hot lap around here.
All right, we've punished our director enough. Yeah, he talked about doing math. This is the Global Sim
to the top. Sorry.
Oh, look at that.
Chapman just takes pole by 3/10.
What a surprise indeed. Your alarm was very appropriate. That one is a shocker. That's out of nowhere.
Well, if that's what Chapman can do, what can our points leaders do? Have they just not been able to put in a truly hot lap yet? Actually, McAreevy, it almost looks like he's been having connection issues or something, because he's been in and out of his session a few times. Daniel Sadro, he made a mistake there out of the last turn, and that means his lap time will not count. That's, of course, something, the way it works on iRacing. If you put a wheel off during your qualifying time, it will not count it. And that's a big concern here at Bathurst, Bill, because the lap is so long that if you do mess it up, you know, if you make a mistake on turn 1, well, you've got to do a whole nother lap before you can get back around and have a go again.
Yeah, you're looking at Ross Nicholson right now. I think the sleeper here is David Gaspers, who's just about to put in a lap, I think. He's sitting in 8th. He was really 7th. He was really slow to get in a qualifying time. I don't mean slow time-wise. Oh, my goodness. He's coming to the pits. Wow. So our point leader is going to be starting way in the very back as qualifying's just about over. Looking at Desai.
Yeah, and Ironom comes into the pits. Desai comes across the line. Checkered flag is out, but lap times will still count. I noticed there, Bill, the drivers coming into the pits at the end of their hot lap there, they were really hauling it in. They're trying to see how fast they can get away with pit entry during the race. And that's why we saw a couple of drivers scraping the wall as they came into the pits. And now they know, okay, I need to go a tiny bit slower than that during the race. Unless, of course, they just want to take a free repair after denting the fender on pit entry.
Yeah, well, this is one of those tracks where pit entry, you can actually, if you practice pit entry, you can pick up speed because it doesn't start timing you till after you do some technical stuff. So for those of us who are talent challenged, it's really not fair because the drivers actually get to race to the cone, which is, I never like that. I like to be able to come in full speed and just worry about getting down under the pit limit right now as we look at Michael Shaw.
Yeah, I'm seeing 5 cars, I would say, still have a chance of putting on a lap time here. Bill Christopher Patterson is the one closest to the line right now. He's looking to jump up the order. He's currently down in 16th. But we're watching Sean, now we're watching Sadro. We saw him have his moment out of a final turn earlier. Hopefully he'll be able to hold it together.
You can see that corner right there. You can see how the drivers, you're looking at Sadro, how he had to negotiate that left-hander coming in. That's before you get to the cones. That where you can pick up some time. There are some tracks where you need to qualify front. You don't want to have to work your way through the fields. There are some tracks where it doesn't matter. I would say this one is not going to be a big issue. The only worry I would have, like Gaspers being back in 7th, is he risks being caught up in a log jam if there was trouble in front of him going up the mountain on the first lap. And now here comes Bertoni coming in. I think these qualifying times are pretty much done here. 17 drivers putting in qualifying, 18 names on the entry list.
Yep, so let's run down the order for you here. Alan Chapman is going to take pole position. We clocked his lap time just a few tenths of a second faster than Jerry McAreevy, starting in second place. Steve Nelson and Jason Perry are lined up there on row number 2, ahead of Aero Norm, who is surprisingly back there in 5th position, although granted, we would not be surprised if he attempts a bit of fuel saving from back there. He's ahead of Daniel Sadro. Who knows what Sadro could have done if he hadn't ran wide at the final corner. David Gaspers will be starting in 7th place alongside league organiser Stevie Ray. Michael Shaw and Andreas Bertoni round out the top 10.
Jose Luis Oviedo de Casillero, supercalifragilistic expialidocious Morales, we call him Jomo for short, sits in 11th. Carnivorous Love is in 12th, and the Baker's Dozen spot, it's Fred Desai. Christopher Patterson sits in 14th, just ahead of Ross Nicholson. All ribbons and curls in the Sweet 16 position. It is Kim Reisberg. Telmo Amaral sits in 16th position. And let's see if Gary Wobold is going to race. He put in a practice time, did not put in a qualifying time. He is the 18th name on the entry list.
Or he is in the session, so maybe he's opting to start at the back there. But I'm going to disagree with something you said a while ago there, Bill. You said qualifying, not hugely important here. And I understand where you're coming from. You know, this is going to be a long race with overtaking opportunities. But I just feel that the risk, especially in a car this unbalanced, of an incident being triggered in the mountain portion of a course on the opening lap is so high that you do want to get a good qualifying spot so that you're in front of that.
No argument there at all. Yeah. If you can survive the first lap, I think that's good. But Gaspers, Ray, those guys are back in 7th, 8th, 9th. They are risking it.
I will raise my hand and admit and confess that during official series races, I have been known to start from the pits here if I haven't qualified too well.
Well, some would call that smart. Others might call it cowardice. Glass half empty, glass half full.
All right, you see the field getting gridded up here. They're getting gridded up just before the trace, so there's only a few turns separating them from the start line. We'll get underway in just a few moments. Still waiting for Kim Risberg, Andreas Bertoni, and Iro Nom to get lined up behind the pace car. Our front row is there. The 17 of Alan Chapman will be starting on the inside. And Jerry McAreevy will be on the outside in the 67 at the say race into hell. No, that's not saying that the circuit is bad. That is literally the name of the first corner.
Such a despicable name for a simple 90-degree left-hander. But yeah, if you have time, if you're listening to this on the radio and you still haven't found your spot yet by the track, head on over to Forest Elbow. I think that's where the action's going to be. Coming out of that one, always both for incidents and for getting a good run down that backstretch.
Yeah, I've always felt bad for that hell corner, Bill, but I think it's got it better than that right-hander that leads you into the infield at VIR, which was named after a canine of the feminine variety.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it is. All right, anyhow, here comes the pace car. Pace car doesn't want to go to hell. It's going to go to pit road instead. Pace car makes the hard left-hander. Chapman has control of the field. He has the inside already. In fact, he could probably hit the gas if he really wanted to right now and get jump on the rest of the field. He's going to do that. But McAreevy is there with him. For those about to race, we salute you as they race into turn number 1. 40 minutes of racing underway, and Chapman leading the field around through the first turn. Now they have a long run down to the second corner, and McAreevy has a better run out of turn number 1. Who will win the race?
That's Gaspers going through the middle. He's got Sadro to his right, and the car on the top, that is Errol Num. They got to get that sorted out. I think Gaspers wants to pick up as many positions before they start up the hill for the first time.
Elson gets a nice slipstream on the 2 leaders, but just hands in third. Hip checks Jason Perry, who has to go out wide. He's going to lose a couple of positions.
Now they got to try to get it sorted out. Gasper's up to 4th, Num in 5th. Those are your big names. Up in front, that white car making a move on the outside. That is Steven Elson. Watch out for him. There he goes.
And watch out for these walls around them. This is definitely the most treacherous part of the course. Well, I'd say the next mile or so is the most treacherous part of the course as they work their way up the mountain with the walls side by side. Elson has found his way into the top position for now. Chapman and Gasper still right behind him. Then Nom made his way up into 4th place, and he'll try and join that lead pack.
Perry, Stevie Ray, Daniel Sadro, Bertoni, and Shaw round out your top 10. Pretty darn clean up and down the mountain so far.
Oh, don't speak too soon, Bill. They made it up to the top of a hill. Now they go down again. McAreevy has somehow taken the lead through that part of the course. I wonder if Elson got a little bit of wheel spin at the top of a hill. I've seen cars do that before. And now you get to breathe.
Elson, of course, now here comes a pass for 2nd. This is Chapman. Look at the run that Elson has on the leader. Oh my goodness, see you later, Jerry McAreevy.
Well, maybe not. McAreevy still has a fender on him on the inside. Now, on the last lap, he would have challenged for that. And out wide, Elson ran off into the grass. A few drivers ran off into the grass further back in the field. And one of them has lost it. But Tony goes into the grass, comes back on, saves it. We're still green.
Through Murray's for the first time. Going to give credit for leading the first lap. Steven Elson, McAreevy, Chapman. Gasper's hanging on in 5th. Gasper's in 4th, Num in 5th.
But all that is going to keep changing here, Bill. We see this with the Spec Racer Ford so much. They kind of break up into their own packs, yep. And then the draft is so strong that it's actually in the favour of a car leading to just let the guy in 2nd by and get him on the straight the next time round.
It is a 6-car train right now. A pass for 3rd position. This is Gasper's. He's going to be on the inside, and he makes that move him up to a podium spot. Almost 2 seconds back from Perry in 6th to Daniel Sadro. Sadro's being chased by Ray, Shaw, and Bertoni as those guys try to get to the lead train.
And yes, that is a Spider-Man paint scheme on the 97 of Traveson Perry.
Well, if you go off the edge of the mountain, it might come in handy.
So McAreevy leads Elson, Gasper's right now, but Elson didn't get through this portion of the circuit too well last time. He lost the lead. We'll try and hold on to 2nd at the least here. Hard braking right at the top of the crest here. Pretty much riding the brakes all the way back down this hill.
We ride off the back of McAreevy. Sam, I think McAreevy's been leading the way the whole time. Elson got around Gasper's. I think he's safe. Maybe I didn't read my notes right. But nevertheless, it's McAreevy, Elson right now as we look back at the white car of Elson. Gasper's, Chapman, Num just sitting back there. Saving fuel, I think, for the guys who are 2nd through 5th right now. 2nd through 6th.
Saving fuel, but at the same time trying to maintain that gap over Stevie Ray. They have such a huge... And here we go, Elson looking for the lead. He made this work last time. He ran a little wide on the exit of the trace, but he took the lead, and this time he keeps on the grey stuff.
Yeah, you know, I talked about, hopefully you had the fortunate enough to hear my track description as I quoted not 1, not 2, but 3 literary works of art there. But we talked about the 2 left-handers that separate the straights. Go ahead, Sam.
Sorry. A slide from Alan Chapman at the back there, pole sitter, and he's able to hold on to the slipstream of the top 5. If he didn't, that could have been costly, but saved it. Holds onto it.
I think we ought to replay that. We'll take a peek at it. The drivers promised to behave while we go to this replay. Take a look at that. Chapman now racing back in 6th.
You have a lot more confidence in the drivers holding it together while we watch it. There you go. That's a slide, yeah.
So that is good news. Chapman's bad news is good news for Daniel Sadro, because now he's only 1.5 seconds behind the lead train.
Chapman is sporting a bit of damage on that car. I wonder if that contributed to that.
Just to follow up on my point there that I left as Chapman got loose. After you're up and down the mountains, it's pretty straightforward, except for the chase. That is a really technical section there. You can make good passing, and there are a lot of mistakes. The good news about the chase is plenty of runoff area. You don't necessarily damage your car if you make a mistake there. One of the few places you can make a mistake at Bathurst and not have your race end, or at least need the fast repair. As we ride on board with, looking at Elsa, not on board, but looking at that white car. He is good.
The leaders work their way once again up to Skyline. They come downhill through the S's, all the way down to the Dipper, is what they call turn 18 at the bottom of the hill.
Uh-oh. And Ross Nicholson just put the car in the wall. He was racing back in 16th. He's going to have a hard time limping that car all the way around. We'll take a peek at this. Let's give Ross a little love on this. He qualified 15th at fallback, and he wants the car just gets away from him. That's how fast it can happen here. Whoop! Ow!
Yeah, you've seen worse than that, to be honest. It's nice to see Nicholson's able to, as you mentioned, continue around the track. He still has another car behind him, in fact, Telmo Amaral. Meanwhile, our leader, McAreevy, has been able to break away a little bit from this battle for second, where Gaspers has just gotten by Elson. Love is off.
Oh, a big one!
Yeah, another car, I think.
Jomo involved in this one. Jomo and Love. This happens with Jomo right in front of Carnivorous Love. Jomo's car gets loose. Love has to check up, and the car comes around. This is lift throttle oversteer here. When Love gets off the throttle, he cannot keep the rear end under him. This is classic. Oh, but we gave one more look at that one from above. Let's look at it one more time from the top. What is important here is Love's really in a bad position. Usually when the tail end starts to come around, the way you save it is to get on the throttle and get the weight to stick in the back, but he couldn't do that because he had Cauliflower Love, or he had Mojo spinning in front of him. So you see both those cars go around. Now we're back live.
Meanwhile, McAreevy had broken away a little bit from the pack for second, but Gaspers has led the pack back up to the drive of that number 67 machine, and I'm sure Gaspers will think about taking a look for the lead when they work their way back down the back straight in a few moments' time.
Now you talk about those 6 cars up front. There was chance that maybe Daniel Sadro, he got it to about 1.2 seconds. Well, now Daniel is, my goodness, 3.2 seconds behind Chapman. Unless he has some type of miracle pit stop, I don't know if he's going to be able to get up to those guys. We look there at the leaders.
The top 6 could all wipe each other out.
That's true. There's your top 6, and you can see so far back you can't even see Sadro in that picture. Sadro and Ray racing for 7th position, and that's really not contested. Let's look at Christopher Patterson. He just lost the car right in front of Fred Desai. Patterson was racing up in 11th position. Desai is going to get a good view of this one. There you go, the Patterson in, well, I'm going to call it the white car. There, oh, this is great. We're on the side. This will be a good shot. You pick where you're going to go. You're going to go right to the left, sneaking right by. Fred, good job.
Patterson still able to drive the car around with a bit of damage. These cars, I mean, they look real. Alwyn Love's off again, but back on. Oh no, he's not. They love spinning through the gravel, and that's the second time in 2 laps, I think, he's made a mistake at that turn. It's going to cost him some positions.
Yeah, he's trying to dance the waltz to rock and roll there. I think he lost his rhythm after he had that spin. We'll take a look at it again. He was having a good run. Now he's all by himself, just trying to get back in sync. And boy, you can see he missed the apex there, and he finds the Australian outback, finding it in all places, and he gets it straightened up.
Alright, we go back live, back up front here, because there was a challenge for the lead, but kind of backfired on David Gaspers. He took a lead, he took a look at the lead on McAreevy, but then realised it wasn't going to work as he backed off for the turn. That allowed Stephen Nelson to take up to second. I don't think we missed a whole lot by missing that, though, because there's going to be plenty of more trading of positions between these 4 in the coming laps.
Yeah, the big news is 1.2 seconds, a big enough gap between Numb and Alan Chapman, whose car has issues. Is Chapman going to lose touch with the lead draft? It's Chapman and Perry racing in 5th and 6th, and the interval's holding at about 1 second.
Elson slideways! He loses it even more! First time, and now it's almost upside down. Originally, he missed one apex, and then it slid a little bit, and then it slid more, and then eventually it spun around on him. Now he's stopped in the middle of the circuit, as the rest of the field are able to make their way by him.
You see that when
it started small, Bill, and it just got worse.
That was he had it for a long time. Then he had it saved. He just got out of rhythm. He got out of, the racing line. Couldn't get it figured out. So, the man who qualified 3rd had raced up to 2nd and was threatening for the lead. In fact, had the lead for a little while. Well, he's out of the race now. Or at least he'll have to take a tow. And that'll take a long time.
Now, you see the same paint scheme on Aero Norm and Alan Chapman's cars as Norm overshoots the turn. Oh. Well, that's not good.
A mistake from the rolling Estonian. That's like a solar eclipse. That doesn't happen very often. So he gets passed by his partner. Go ahead, we'll finish up on the point you were making there, Sam. Alan Chapman and Numb, of course, both racing for Bushfink Racing.
And meanwhile, pit road is open, the fuel window is open. Jason Perry, Stevie Ray, Andres Bertoni, and Stephen Nelson all taking advantage of that. But yeah, the teammates, Chapman and Nom, they had David Gaspers kind of in the Bushfink sandwich right there for 2nd place. I wondered if they were going to start trying to work with each other, because the problem is, well, they've been doing all that trading for 2nd. McAreevy is broken away by about 2 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't because of the trading that these were doing. I think he capitalized on Elson's mistake. When Elson had all that issues going on, I think it broke the draft up. The good news is for Gaspers and Chapman, and it was mostly for Chapman and Numb, they can probably have the pace to get to McAreevy, even though he was our pole sitter. No, I'm sorry, I apologize. Chapman's our pole sitter, but his car's damaged, so I'm not sure he has the speed that he had when he started the race.
Yeah, McAreevy started in 2nd place, so definitely has some pace in that number 67 Spec Racer Ford. Yeah,
even the fact that McAreevy is out there all by himself now, burning up the fuel, Gaspers and Chapman and Numb can do a little swap and save a little fuel that way. Let's go to 11th position. Take a look.
Wow! Gaspers slid and Chapman's hard on the wall. Chapman basically made the exact same mistake as Gaspers. Gaspers got away with it.
Yeah. Gaspers made the mistake. His wasn't quite as bad.
Oh, Chapman stopped in the middle of the field. He's going to have to tow the pit to avoid getting hit from other cars.
Gasper's car gets loose, and he puts the right-end tail into the wall. It might have been a little bit of what's called target fixation there, as Chapman, either that or iRacing has a new oil on the track thing that we don't know about, because Chapman puts it in the wall, but a lot harder than Gaspers did. So, Elson gone. Chapman gone.
Yeah, I'm looking at the weather here, Bill. The track temperature is kind of high, but the drivers would have had time to get used to that in practice. But one thing that is quite notable is there's a fairly strong wind. And I wonder if that was affecting the handling in that turn a little bit. We're seeing Dromo and Stevie Ray in a battle. Dromo actually lost a few positions a moment ago. He had a bit of an incident. Obviously hasn't been enough to damage his car too much.
That car they're getting around, that was Ross Nicholson. That was for position. Ross coming in now, making his stop. Joe Mo gets loose coming out of Murray. He's going to lose that spot, or maybe he had a slowdown penalty, but he gives it up to Stevie Ray.
Meanwhile, I'm also keeping half an eye on the time interval up front. Jerry McAreevy now has a 2.5 second lead over David Gaspers. So, yeah, the only thing I would say to this point, Bill, is as you mentioned, McAreevy could be burning more fuel. But even if you don't burn as much fuel around here, do you really want to gamble with short pitting?
Yeah.
Considering the fact that if you do get an extra lap around here, you're going to be going for a long time.
2.4 seconds. And usually, I would say, Gaspers and Numb, they're probably your championship when it's all said and done and everything's brought into order. They might be battling for the championship. But no, that's not the case. Jerry McAreevy right in the mix as well. Guys can't afford to lose points. Yeah, look at this. And my gosh, Gasper, in fact, he's going to drop that position, it looks like. Nope.
Yeah, Gaspers does have damage to that car. I think he may have just picked up a little bit more. He may almost be considering bringing that into the pits very soon, because that was not a place where you want to trade position. It cost him both times, and now the gap between these two and our race leader is 3 seconds.
A little bit of a bump draft there from David. Let's go. That's a good. You must be watching the broadcast. Knew we were on the bumper can of Numb there. That was beautiful work by Gaspers as they try to run down McAreevy. Yeah, you know what? Looking at Gasper's car, the left side of the car, back right by the driver there, to the left of the driver's shoulder, that's all banged up. Not to mention that I know, in fact, is he going to come in for a pit stop? Yeah. I know he put the right tail in the wall right ahead of Chapman there. Ooh. So now they negotiate. My gosh, there's the racing that we talked about. Now they're on the brakes.
Yeah, Gasper's almost put the car on the wall another time there on pit entry.
So, with that pit stop being made, you may want to think, who's out there leading of all the cars to pit? Well, it's Jason Perry in 9th. Not sure if Jason has any chance. Boys, Ross Nicholson continues to bang the car. Ross Nicholson puts it in the wall. He's done. There we're looking at Perry in the Spider-Man machine.
Yeah, Jason Perry was one of the quiet drivers earlier on in the race. He was hanging out with that 6-car lead pack. He was kind of just running at the back of it. He made an early stop.
Got a chance to get close to Gasper. Well, Gasper's coming out, but it's going to be closer than I thought. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry to interrupt.
Yay. I'm surprised he isn't a bit closer, actually, Bill, considering that Gaspers was, getting banged up a little bit out there.
Yeah, about 6-7 seconds there. Let's take a look at Gasper's car. It looks... I can only see the right side right now.
Free repair.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. Well, that's pretty and straight.
Anyway, one thing I do want to keep an eye on this lap, Bill, is what can Nero Nom do now that for the first time this race he doesn't have to worry about cars around him? Can he run down McAreevy? At the start of his lap, he was about 3 seconds back. He's had it as low as 2.5. Actually, it looks like McAreevy's able to get through the mountain portion of the circuit a bit faster than the driver of his 78.
Numb just a tick under 3 seconds back. There's the roll in Estonia right there. It is familiar number 78. We know him from many series here on GSRC. He races in the Absolute Beginners. They're racing for years. They raced the Skippy. Now they're racing the Formula Renault. We know him from the MX-5 World Tour, which obviously you can get by the title. Races the MX-5. And then, of course, this race where he's racing in this one. Oh, big! Gasper's involved in an issue. We'll want to get this one. It's with Kim Reisberg. Gasper's trying to make the pass when he shouldn't have. Oh my goodness. The Ghost is...
Oh, he's still losing it, and right behind him. As we go to the replay, I'll tell you, he just had the spin at the bottom of the hill here. Let's see what happens initially.
Just a bit more on that, Director. Take a look at this one. Now, there you see. There he is behind Riceberg. As we come up... Now, he has the momentum. He's saying, okay, but this is a guy who's got to hurry. Maybe a guy who knows there are drop races. Watch this move. Really?
You know, it's a problem with making an early pit. Yeah, it's the problem with making an early pit stop, Bill, is it puts you back in traffic that's slower than you, but you're still racing because they haven't pit yet.
So we're going to stay with it, and then it comes out, and then Sam sees another issue, right, Sam? Did you see after he came out? Or did
right
he
at the bottom of a hill here. He just slid, and then the car behind him spins trying to avoid.
There's another spin. There it is. So David Gasper having issues. Now we come back live. So let's check back in on McAreevy. 2.5 seconds. I think it was 2.8 before. So he's knocked down a little bit. So here we are at 2.5.
But this is where, right at the top of the hill here, at the at Skyline, Bill, is where McAreevy was able to open it back up last lap. It looks like he's able to get through this portion a bit faster than Aero Nom. This time maybe not so much. It remains about 2.5 seconds.
We look at that. How about a little love for the driver in third? When I was a kid, my grandmother would read me the story of the tortoise and the hare. How about Daniel Sadro? Remember, we were talking about him? Wasn't long ago, he was in 7th, and we were saying, oh my goodness, can he stay on the lead train? Well, now he's in a podium spot. Don't know if he has anything for McAreevy or Num, but it's going to be a good points day as people keep falling away. Elson, Chapman, Gaspers, all with issues.
And that's all going to be good news for Jason Perry, the driver leading those who have pit so far, because he had been riding back in about 5th or 6th place before his stop. Well, those retirements mean Perry is currently running in 6th place, and everyone in front of him has to pit, so he could end up with a podium here.
Yeah, Spider-Man was in the lead train. He came out early, so he's by himself. I doubt if Sadro's going to be able to jump him. In fact, I can maybe even give you that interval, because that'll be an interesting thing to do. From Sadro to Perry, about 28 seconds, just a tick under 29 seconds. I would imagine that Sadro won't be able to get in and out before Perry comes around. So Perry looking at that final podium spot. Go ahead.
Just watching... Yeah, and that's a scrap going on for 7th place back there between Bertoni and Risberg. I don't know how much of this is a battle, though, Bill, and how much these two really need to be working with each other.
Yeah. Risberg. Oh, let's go to Telmo Amaral right now. This is a strange incident. Car number 31. This is a weird one. The car just goes left. I think he spilled a coffee on his lap or something. He's the car in front. And what in the world? Here he's going, and then, hello. That's I'm telling you, that's coffee in the lap. Maybe come in and talk to us about that one.
Could have been a software failure there, but he has retired from the race, whatever the cause of the incident was.
You know, Bathurst's hard enough. You don't need to be crashing going straight. Here we go, looking at Aero Num right now.
Yeah,
Perry, the leader of all the cars who pitted. Go ahead.
The interval he had got down to 2 seconds. I think Num made a mistake at going through that left-hander allows McAreevy to open it back up to 3 seconds.
I saw the same thing, Sam. He was coming. That's all right. Errol Num just needs to come in and get these results and just cannot miss any more races. He needs to make sure he stays for the rest of the meal.
Yeah, this is definitely going to shake up the points if these two are able to finish up front. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, yep, here we go. McAreevy's coming in. Nom stay out another lap, he will.
Yep. This might be a result of McAreevy having to lead so much. So
and that
clearly...
that could also hurt McAreevy's pit time. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, clearly Sadro's going to get around and Shaw and decide if they decide to stay out. They may actually come into pit. What's interesting is where Jason Perry is right now. Just heading into the chase, Perry's already made his stop. He was within shouting distance of McAreevy when they were racing. Then he lost a little touch. McAreevy's still in the pits. Perry now just coming up into Murray's. Oh, McAreevy's out. Yeah.
Already out, far ahead. But Fred Desai is in the pits, so Perry will get a position from him.
Desai in there. And Perry goes by. Desai would like to get out ahead of... This would be Riceberg, but I guess Riceberg is done. There's Jason Perry looking at sitting in fifth, second of all the cars who've pitted, behind Jerry McAreevy.
One driver running up in top three right now. We haven't mentioned a lot today. Granted, he's only there because he hasn't pit yet, but it's Michael Shaw. And honestly, the way this race has gone in the opening stages here, Bill, if we haven't mentioned you, that means you've had a decent race.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just a report after Gasper, all of his issues, he's done, so he's out of it. Chapman, our pole sitter, is out of it. Elson, qualified third, he's done.
So, attrition playing its role here at Bathurst.
When does it not?
Well, it was surprising, Bill. For about the first 10 minutes of the race, it didn't. And then once we entered this middle portion, I guess once drivers... Oh, McAreevy trouble!
Boy, if car gets loose, I don't think he hits much. He does a good job of saving him. Maybe even backing up, he puts the tail into the wall a little bit. This is going to cost him time. This is good news for Num, good news for Sadro. Watch this. The car gets loose. This is the nature of the beast of racing this little car. That's the part there. I hope it didn't hurt the tail. Boy, he did a good job of making lemonade out of lemons there.
Well, we're about to find out, Bill, how much it really did hurt him, because Nom is in. As is Sadro, will Nom have the lead over McAreevy? I would anticipate the answer would be yes after a moment that costly. And so then the second question is, how big will that lead be?
Yeah, McAreevy had about a 3-second gap on the track before the pit stops happened. Boy, he did a real good job of getting that thing saved. McAreevy right now coming up, going into Murray's right now. Oh, he's out of Murray. He's coming to hell. This is going to be close.
Yeah, no, Nom has already exited the pits, and I'll tell you right now, Bill, McAreevy's car is not handling too far. It will slide too well. It was sliding all the way through Murray's.
Oh, the left rear of McAreevy's car is severely banged up.
Meanwhile, Daniel Sadro comes out in third ahead of Jason Perry. And that pretty much is going to complete our round of pit stops with Andres Bertoni coming out in fifth.
Sadro in third. You know what? Look, we talked about Sadro and we talked about Perry, right? Remember? Well, look at that. Sadro is ahead of Perry now after the stops were made. Perry was back racing in seventh, not part of the lead train. Perry was. Sadro has managed to find himself in a podium position, assuming he took a long enough stop to take enough fuel to get to the end.
As we mentioned, this really isn't a track where you want to gamble on fuel strategy, but these are competitive racing drivers, and that doesn't mean there's not one or two out there who didn't try and do exactly just that.
Errol Num trying to win a championship. He's got to beat the guys around him. Well, the Gaspers has had trouble. Huda Dulas is not here. McAreevy now is well racing in a second, but he has a chance maybe to lose that spot to Sadro. It's a good day for the Rolling Estonian as he heads down into Forest Obo.
Well, the good news about Aero Num here, Bill, so some people don't like racing fuel as they save, some people do. The fact that he does means he's experienced with it. So even if he didn't take that much fuel, he's got a 7-second cushion behind him. He knows how to do it. So he shouldn't have any excuse not to come out here with the victory, if not, you know, a second or third place if he does have to do a bit of fuel conservation. But of course, as you mentioned in the past, that could just be us creating drama here. Chances are the driver of that number 78 knows exactly what he's doing.
I'm smiling ear to ear with your comment because I go back to our last broadcast race where we interviewed David Gaspers, and Gaspers says, basically, I will paraphrase that darn Num, what he does is fuel save the whole time, and I can't afford to race. Gaspers would like to go out there and have some fun. Let's race and come on and get fuel and race some more. Num won't let him do it. It makes Gaspers, when you have talent like Gaspers does, it takes that away. It's like, I can't do what I do best. I got to sit here and save fuel. I love it. I love it. I love Aero Num. One of the most gracious winners, and better yet, one of the more gracious losers, able to make his point when he's upset without being offensive. Really, for a guy who has English as a second or third language, really good at what he does.
Right. So the time that Nom crossed the line at, he had about 8 minutes left on the clock. That's telling me we have 4 laps left to go in this race, and the final lap will start with about 30 seconds left on the clock. The closest battle on track right now is for third place.
He's coming.
Yeah, Sadro has it by about 1.5 seconds over Jason Perry.
Spider-Man's on the hunt, though. Doing whatever a Spider-Man can.
It took us 32 minutes.
I didn't sing it. I was tempted to sing it, but that's our director singing it right now, but it's not going to get me hooked into it. But that interval 1.8 might not have enough time for Spidey to get there with only 7 minutes to go. Sadro may be secure in third.
Yeah, I think Jason Perry, though, running in 4th place, he would love to net himself a podium finish.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I hope Jason Perry spins one. Seems like Spider-Man always spinning a web. See him riding on board there with Jason Perry. Boy, that's a good-looking car.
And I think he's going to want to keep this paint, Bill, because I'm looking at his previous results. His best finish so far all season has been 13th.
Yeah, well, marveling at his result right now. Yeah. This is our closest battle. Director is Spider-Man. Is that Marvel or is that DC? Did I get that one wrong? All right, I got it. Okay, good. Nope. Now we're hearing this DC. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. So now I'm hearing it's Marvel. Somebody in the YouTube chat, get to us there. Okay, it's all right. Now I'm getting more information than I need. Sorry I brought it up. How about 5th position? Here's a guy where the top 5 has got 0 love from us. Andres Bertoni. Sounds like an inventor. I think might have invented the radio. I'm not sure about that.
Well, I'd say he gets our Hard Charger award here, Bill. Up 5 positions from where he started. Started back there in P number 10.
Yeah.
And I take that back and give the award, in fact, to our last car on the lead lap, Gary Walbort.
No, he does not.
Oh, yeah,
no.
Yeah, okay, yeah, technicality.
Not for GSRC. We don't give Hard Charge awards to people who don't qualify. Be a man.
But Bill, he hasn't passed anyone. He's done it all through attrition too. He's the last car on the lead lap.
Yes, I always believe it or not, this is my 95-year-old mother-in-law. This is where I encourage her to race if she was ever going to race one. Just go out, keep the car between the ribbons of concrete, and you'll get yourself a top 10 because attrition is so awful here. Mama Jean, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Sunday morning here, well, Sunday afternoon here in the U.S.
That means it's midday Thursday in Australia, right?
That's right. That's right. They're on Venus time. Looking there at Kim Risberg. Remember, he had that. I hope Kim is a. Andres Bertoni. Can we go to him? We just talked about him. He just put it in the wall as we speak.
He's still running in 5th place, but he has damage on that 18 machine, and Michael Shaw will be closing in on him.
This is not commentator's curse. I was done talking about it. I was off. This is just. I'm not sure what happens here to Andres. Everything seems to be going fine, and then get down to this technical section. Missed the apex. Oh, wow. That's got off the racing line.
You definitely want to keep your wits about you in the closing stages here. The battles are broken up. It's easy to get fatigued at the end of this race. As you can see, Bertoni is going again, but his position indicator now showing him in 6th position. There's why Michael Shaw has taken that position from him.
Just to follow up on my point about Risberg, I'm assuming, I feel pretty confident that that is indeed a masculine driver. In the U.S., Kim is a feminine name, but I'm sure he must hail from Scandinavia. Let's take a quick look. See, yes, of course it is. So that's always on the hunt for the female-type drivers. There are a few of them that race here on GSRC. Sarah Dove, the biggest name of them. All right. Looking at the gaps with the top 3.
Yeah, the intervals between them all. They will be starting the final lap this time. Miro Nunn will cross the line with about 30 seconds left on the clock. He still holds a 6.5 second lead, although it's decreasing a little bit as he works his way through the infield. He might have just missed an apex. That is one problem about the circuit with the low power cars, Bill. If you get a bad shift or anything going up a hill, you got to wait about a whole minute before you can start making time up again.
Our leader just now quite getting down into Forest Hill. I can report we don't really need to go there. Sadro seems pretty comfortable, a 1.5 seconds ahead of Perry. Of course, if Daniel makes a mistake, Spider-Man will be there to capitalize on it. But right now, Sadro, what a good run from him. My gosh, 3rd place. Num is out of Forest Elbow. And we'll just look at him coming down. We talked about the long straight. Heading down into one of the more tricky sections of the course that's not on the mountain. They call it the chase. A little like a chicane, a little left-right chicane. Not a good runoff area. You can see Team Bushfink. They are everywhere here on iRacing and the GSRC broadcast. Sam, take it home.
That's a chicane done right, the chase. It's like just twisty enough to, you know, if you dive in the entrance, it will punish you on the exit. Be on the inside, you're on the outside the next turn as we start the final lap here. But at the same time, you know, it doesn't ruin the flow of a racetrack. It's windy enough, almost like just a tight set of S's. Anyhow, Nom has stayed out on track. Jason Perry is off track and back on again, but with damage.
But he had got the interval down. He was closing, and now he's got to try it again. That's a case of being able to see your target. I can relate to that. I always go slower when I'm trying, when I can see the guy I'm chasing. I drive it in too deep. And there you can see, look how close he was to Sadro. He had chased him down, and then the 90s from 7. Yep, there it is, into the wall.
The problem is, with the Spider car painted up like that, it's only got 2 headlights. Spiders are meant to have a lot more eyes than that.
I don't know. Do spiders have lots of eyes? I know flies. I didn't know spiders did, man.
I thought they did. We'll look at that.
Okay, all right.
If it was the middle of a race, I'd look at that. It's the final lap. I got to talk about Nom winning the race.
Well, he's got a ways to do. He's got to go up the mountain. He's got to go down the mountain, get through the Chase Murrays, and then he's home free.
Yeah, that's like one of those things. You gotta get up in the morning, brush your teeth, wash your face, get changed, drive your car, avoid all the other idiots on the road, and then you're easily at work. It's a simple task, right?
Many of accidents have happened while brushing your teeth. You'd be surprised. The bathroom is the most dangerous room in your house. Do a little double checking there to see if Errol Num has a win so far this season. I don't.
He does. He has
one win, yeah.
In 2 seconds. It looks like he's going to come home with win number 2 today. Obviously, this is going to be huge for him in the points, especially with Grease the Lightning not being here. And we'll see if he can continue to build on this momentum in the upcoming rounds. I'll be at Laguna Seca next week. We won't broadcast that. We'll be at Watkins Glen in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be our next broadcast. See what this drive of this number 78, if he can continue to build on this momentum as he has finished first or second every race he's been in this season. And Ironarm comes out of a final turn and takes a win here, Mount Panorama.
Don't be surprised when we come back in 2 weeks and you don't see him at the top of the standings. How about this, though? Jerry McElreevy salvages second. That's going to be good for the points. Sadro holds off of Perry, Sam.
Yep, so Perry will come back in 4th place despite that Spider car not looking as good as what it was a lap ago. Michael Shaw, quiet race. He's going to bring it home in 5th position. And there was a change for 6th off. In the
that's Bertoni
unpressured was Bertoni, and Stevie Ray's going to capitalise on that. We haven't gave a shout out to Stevie Ray all race long. Nice race by our league organisers though. Started 8th, finishes 6th.
Yeah, Shaw and Ray both was final finishes. We talked about Bertoni. He was sitting in 5th, had 5th place locked up. Things went south, which is hard to do when you're in Australia because you end up in the South Pole. But my gosh, he's going to have to settle for 7th.
Patterson coming around. Gets 9th place, then rounding out the top 10 will be Jomo after a couple of early troubles, and then Kim Risberg and Gary Walbort will round out our lead lap finishers in a few moments' time. Well, we are done here as far as racing is concerned, but stay tuned to GSRC. We'll be back with a full race rundown and drive interviews. I see Hero Nom already getting mic'd up. We'll have him in a couple of moments here. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Mount Panorama, where we just witnessed 40 minutes of racing action here with the Spec Racer Ford in the Weekend Warrior Series over at Bathurst. And your winner, when it was all said and done, was the number 78 of Aeronom. He finishes just 5 seconds up the road by the end of things, ahead of Jerry McAreevy. Daniel Sadro took home a solid third place finish, holding off the pressure from Jason Perry in fourth position. Michael Shaw rounded out our top 10. Stevie Ray was gifted sixth place on the final lap by Andreas Bertoni, who made a mistake. Behind him, Fred Desai crossed the line in eighth position ahead of Christopher Patterson, and Jose Luis Oviedo de Castillejo Mojo, or rather Jomo, is back there in P number 10.
Love that name. Hey, if I could have the Hall of the Mountain King put on for my background music here while I do this, because I got some scary stuff to report. Kim Reisberg, well, he was okay on the lead lap, as was Gary Walbot. They come home 11-12. Then we get to the guys. David Gaspers, leading in the points, sitting 7th on the grid, comes home in 13th, few points there. Telmo Amaral, he had his issues. He's going to come home in the Baker's dozen spot. I'm sorry, 14th for him, one past the Baker's dozen spot. Alan Chapman, our pole sitter, he comes home in 15th. Ross Nicholson, sweet 16. Steven Elson, he was fast. He has to settle for 17th place points. I'm not sure they can go that far. And then there is Cauliflower Love, the last car on the grid. Okay, there you have it, Sam. Who are you talking to?
We have caught up with our race winner, Aeronom. First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Were you concerned when you qualified back there in fifth position that you would lose the leaders, or that you would run into a bit of trouble that's typical in the midfield at the start here?
Yeah, rather the latter one, running into trouble, because it's pretty easy to get back in the draft. Yeah, so that was the only concern, just didn't get the lap in Korea.
You made your pit stop very late on, as did Jerry McAreevy. Did you know that Jerry had a bit of trouble before you came in for your pit stop?
No, there was no way to know that. Just when I came out, I saw he was back, and I saw the pit stop time was about the same, so it was the outlap.
Now, you finished first or second in every single race that you've been in the series so far. However, you won't have any drop weeks at the end of the season. Do you feel confident that you can keep this podium streak going throughout the rest of the year and challenge for that championship?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe just I need to practice, because I haven't practiced for any races far, so I came in today 40 minutes in the practice, so yeah, maybe just more practice.
Yeah, well, you definitely performed well out there today. Other drivers ran into a little bit of misfortune, but you were a strong front runner all race long. At the end of the day, you took home that victory. We look forward to seeing if you can do the same next week. We won't be here next week, but next week we'll be at Laguna Seca in 2 weeks' time at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
All right, that was our race winner, Aeronom. And Bill, you've called up with a driver who finished just 5 seconds behind him, Jerry McAreevy.
Jerry, you had it. Even your mistake, you did such a great job of recovering from it. I thought, well, maybe it's still going to work out for you. Wasn't to be.
Hi, guys.
Did you feel I thought you were the class of the field. You were the fastest driver out there. Tell us about your mistake that cost you the race where you spun the car.
It was just a mistake on my part, really. Not much you can do about it. It's Bathurst.
You had done it a few times before, and then the car got around on you. Let's talk about the points. Now, there's 4 drop races, so drivers get to throw out almost like a third of their season. When I look at this, when you come back, if we think about your races, when you come back, you're going to have the 4 races that will count. 3/3 and a first. You're going to be right in the mix to win this championship. Are you surprised by how well you're doing?
A little bit. I think David's had some technical issues, and Demetrius is on holiday, so
Yep.
Obviously I've been capitalising on that. But I'm sure when they get back up to speed, things will be back to normal.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting is going to be a four-driver battle for the championship between the two drivers you mentioned, Errol Num, who's also coming late. He's going to be a contender, and yourself as well. Well, Bathurst got the best of you. Second place, not the worst. Congratulations on at least getting some good points.
Thanks, Rip, and congrats to Aero and Daniel as well. Good racing. Thanks.
Yeah, great run from Daniel Sadro. There you have Jerry McAreevy. Not a lot to say. I think maybe if he might have got the win, he might have been a little more upbeat. Sam, what do you got?
Well, we have the third driver on our podium, Daniel Sadro. Congratulations, Daniel. That's a good performance out there today.
Daniel having a little mic trouble. What he was going to say was, yes, I was down in 7th, and I didn't think I had a chance to get the points, but everyone kept crashing in front of me, so I just kept picking up point after point. And now let's see if Daniel's back with us. He can finish the rest of this answer. Daniel?
Oh, yeah. Soup, you said it better than I could.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I just ran a clean race and couldn't have hoped for more.
Yeah, this is your first podium finish of the season. I noticed you had 3 top 5s earlier this year, but must be good to finally break into the top 3.
It's been a goal, and I'm just glad that it could come at a track that's as hard as this one. It means more to win it here than if it was a really easy track.
Yeah, you got Laguna Seca coming up next week, and then Watkins Glen. We return for GSRC in 2 weeks' time. Do you think you can continue to build on this momentum, knock out a couple more podium finishes?
Oh, no. I'll be happy if I finish. But for Watkins, it's possible. It depends on how I do.
Now, early on in the race, Pack was starting to break away from you a little bit, the lead Pack. How difficult was it to try and maintain pace with them? You know, keep it yourself in that slipstream?
Tough, because when you're outside of about 2 seconds from the guy in front of you, it's very difficult. You really lose any hope of having any of the slipstream. So they were all slipstreaming, and they were going faster on the long straightaways, and I was hoping to catch them on the mountain. It didn't happen, but it was my hope. But it's tough.
All right, well, congratulations once again on your podium finish, Dan, and we look forward to seeing more, hopefully, in the future for you coming up in the coming rounds. So that was our third place finish for Daniel Sadro. And I must confess, Bill, I was misreading my notes earlier on. I said Jason Perry, who finished 4th, hadn't finished higher than 13th all season long. That was actually the points I was looking at there, not his finishing positions. His highest finishing performance this year has been 4th, and Jason Perry was able to equalise that today. Well, we definitely knew it was going to be interesting watching these guys race at Mount Panorama. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be back, Bill. They'll be racing at Watkins Glen, an entirely different track from this one. However, 2 things quite similar: close walls, high speeds.
Yeah, I'm sad. I love broadcasting from Laguna Seca. It's too bad we're not covering that one, but we will be back for Watkins Glen. I'm not sure if that's going to have the inner loop in it or not, but yeah, it is the cup. Okay, what you have to watch out for, Sam, you mentioned it. Not nearly what it is here at Bathurst, but nevertheless, the walls can get close there as well, and attrition could be a factor. When you're a driver like Errol Num, who burned his 4-race drop insurance at the very beginning, there's no cushion for him. Some of these other drivers might be able to get away with one more mistake before it starts to hurt.
You'll get to see that all in 2 weeks' time here on the GSRC. We would like to thank Steve Ray, as well as the organisers and the competitors for the Weekend Warrior series, for choosing GSRC and coming out here today and putting on another fantastic show. We would also like to thank all of the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts, and there you can see them all listed on your screen. Additional thanks goes out to Eric Coleman and June Lalonde, who provide us with our great music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Bill, Sean and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracing channel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so be sure to check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.